Daf Hashavua, a new Perek Revi, B'nai Yair. We have Reb and Sion Lopik in here finally for the first time. We're very, very proud and a little intimidated that we got him here for the Shir Baruch Hashem. We hope will be the first of many Shiurim that he sees. We're also stalling for time because now we got Benny here, Baruch Hashem. We're stalling for time. We're starting a new Perek. Chafayim and Beis on the bottom. B'nai Yair. B'nai Yair. B'nai Yair shamachu rechov v'shalir. If the people of a city sold the town square, lochin b'dama beis haknesses, they have to use the money for something higher than what it was used for before. So the town square, the Gemara is going to explain. Rashi explains here that from the Gemara that they used to sometimes use the town square on a tainus to fast. They used to bring out the Sefer Torah and the Bima. Not sure if they brought out the Aron. It's unclear exactly what was brought out, but something to do with the Sefer Torah that they brought into the town square to daven, at least the Bima, and therefore it caused the holiness, is right, to the town square. Rashi adds they also used to do that for Mamados. Mamados were that they split up the Yisraelim into 24 weeks to correspond to the 24 Kohanim, and they used to daven in their hometowns as well. The problem is that by the Mamados they daven in shul. So Rashi is going to speak about that in the Gemara. But either way, the halacha, the thing that we have is like this. This a concept called Malin Bakodesh Ve'im Moridin. You have to go up in Kedusha, you can't go down in Kedusha. So therefore, when you sell this town square, what are you going to do with the money? The money was used for davening, for tefillah. So you have to buy a shul, which is even greater than the town square, obviously, because the shul is used consistently for tefillah, and it has an intrinsic kedusha. So then you have to buy a shul. The Beis HaKnesses, you sold a shul, lo kenteva. You could buy a aron kodesh to house the Sefer Torah. Some say means the actual bima that you put the Sefer Torah on, but something that the actual Torah is used with. So that would be even more holy than the Beis HaKnesses. Teva, if you sold the aron lochin mitbachos, you could buy the mantle of the Torah, which is even holier. Why is the mantle, the cover of the Torah, even holier than what? Than the bima? Why do you think? Because it's covering the Torah itself. Lochin mitbachos. So you buy the mantle. Mitbachos, if you sold the mantle of the Sefer Torah, now we're on Chavav and Aleph, Yikhu Svarim. Lochin Svarim, says the Bach changed it. Lochin Svarim, you could buy Svarim, Rashi says, of Nevi'im and Ksuvim. Svarim, if you sold Svarim, Lochin Torah, the only thing you could go up is to buy a Sefer Torah. Abel in Maku Torah, if you sold the Sefer Torah, Lo Yikhu Svarim, you can't buy Svarim. Can't buy Nevi'im and Ksuvim because that's lower. Svarim, if you sold Svarim Lo Yichlim Mitpachos, you can't buy a mantle of a Sefer Torah because that's lower. Mitpachos, if you bought a mantle of a Sefer Torah Lo Yichlu Teva, you can't buy a Teva, an Aron Teva Lo Yichlu Beis HaKnesses. If you sold a Teva, you can't you can't buy a Beis HaKnesses with that's lower. Beis HaKnesses Lo Yichlu Esarachov. You can't, if you sold a shul, you can't buy the town square. And even if you have leftover money from these sales, you can't go down with it. Rashi just says, and it will be, I'm assuming they'll touch on it with on the Daf Hashavua B'china. He says, how do we know Mal Makodesh V'lo Meridin? He brings down the Tosefta that it says by Yaakov Moshe es HaMishkan that B'tzalel made the Mishkan, but Moshe, who was greater than him, Hekimu, he erected the Mishkan. And also we don't go down because it says by Korach that after the fire came and killed the 250 people who were bringing ketores in the fire pans, so Hashem said, take the fire pans, and what should you do with it? You should make a covering for the Mizbeach. You should pan them out, make rekuei pachim tzipul mizbeach, to cover over the mizbeach, because that was an upgrade in the usage of the item. Says the Gemara. We're not going to learn a ton of Gemara. We'll try to get to just halfway down, and it says like this: if the people of the city sold the town square, Amar Rabba Bar Bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Zu divrei Rabbi Menachem ben Rabbi Yossi Stumasa. This sheet is the words of Rabbi Menachem bar Yossi Stumasa. This is all the words of Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi Stumasa. I don't know if anyone remembers, but in the first daf of Megillah, Rashi brings down Rabbi Menachem Stumasa, the anonymous one, the one that says halachos that are anonymous. He says it in Rashi Stimasa, where it calls Rabbi Yehuda Stimasa, right? Shein Divrei Rabbi Akiva. Oh, he says that Rabbi Akiva Stimasa, and the Yesh Mefarshim that they were Talmidim Stamish Rameir has different shatim who it is, and then it says that there's Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Yossi Stimasa, Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi Stimasa. Quotes Rashi. Therefore, Rashi asks a question on one of the pshatim that if it means the Talmidim, here it doesn't mean the Talmidim. Here it means the actual person. So this is that famous Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi Stimasa. These are the words of Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi Stimasa. That if you sold the courtyard of the city, you can't. You have to buy a shul. The Chacham say that the rachov, that the town square does not have any kedusha, and therefore, when you sell it, what could you buy with it? You can buy bagels, you can buy ice cream, you can buy whatever you want. Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi, my taima. What is Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yossi? Why does it have kedusha? Since the people daven on tinios, on tinus and mamados, like we said, Rabbanan say it was only akroy, it only happened like that here and there. That doesn't have kedusha. I said already that Rashi brings down two pshatim. Either his second shot is that the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yitzchak say that don't put in mamados, because when they daven for the mamados, Moshe, they didn't daven in the square, they daven in shuls. But he brings down a first shot that maybe there was a place where there was a shul in a square, and by the mamados it filtered out to the square. So maybe there was a shot that it could mean the mamados. Says the Gemara Vayter, Beis HaKnesses lo chenteva, that if you sell a shul, you buy a aron. Amar Rab Shua Amar Nachman and Rabbi Yonasan lo shana lo Beis HaKnesses shel kfarim. That's the only time you're allowed to sell a Beis HaKnesses is when it belongs to a small town, because a small town owns the shul. Aval Beis HaKnesses shel krachim, if it's a big town, even the me'alma also, since people come in and out of that town, so they give donations. And when they give donations, people own it. I was in Niagara Falls last Pesach, and they live on the donations of all the tourists. So their shul, which is great, it's a beautiful shul, as a Beis Medrash. I learned there. They have restaurants, milchiks, fleishiks. There I didn't eat over Pesach, but that I was their sukkahs. So there, it's all their shuls belongs to the Jewish world, because most of their money comes from the outside world, even some of their money. So if then you can't even sell it at all. Even the me'al, since donations come from outside, lo matzi mizavnele, you can't sell it. Tavali the rabbin belongs to rabbin. Amar Ravashi, but Ravashi said, except for my city. Hai be knishta the masa machsia. The shul, though, in the city of Machsia, apagav the me'al ma'asula, even though the money came from all around, since they realized that I was the one calling the decisions, and they gave it to knowing full well that I was going to make the decisions, if I wanted, mazavninole, I could sell it. One more Gemara, Meisvei, we're going to ask a question on this Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Ma'aseh Beis HaKnesses shel Tursim. There was a story with the Beis HaKnesses of the coppersmiths, that they, because of the work they're in, they were dirty and people didn't want to daven with them. They made their own shul. So the miners, it's Shal Yerushalayim, they were in Yerushalayim. Shemachru Rabbi Eliezer, they sold the shul to Rabbi Eliezer. V'asaba kol tzarchav, he did regular mundane stuff in the shul. Frak the Gemara, v'asam the krachim avi. That was in Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was a big city where people came in and out. The v'asam the krachim avi, it was a krach, it was a shul of a krach. Havi hi be knishta. I'm sorry. So therefore, how could Rabbi Eliezer, and that will be done, how could Rabbi Eliezer have even bought it from them? He wasn't allowed to buy it from them. Answers the Gemara, when that were done, it was a small shul that they made it themselves, and they didn't make it with the donations of others, and therefore they were allowed to sell it, even though